Hi, welcome again to Gearjunkies TV and a new video. Today we're gonna take a look and listen to the Sequential Trigon 6 analog synthesizer. The Trigon 6 is the last sequential synthesizer that Dave Smith, the brand's founder who died last year, has worked on. It's also the third member of the 6 series, the others being the Prophet 6 and OB6. A number of features are similar. It is a 6-voice analog synthesizer with a 4-octave semi-weighted keyboard with velocity and aftertouch and a digital effects section. Presets are chosen with this series of knobs and are shown numerically in the 3-digit LED display. There are 500 presets and 500 user sounds available. By the way, you can stay informed about all our videos by subscribing to our channel. Just click the subscribe button below the video and you can hit the bell button to get notifications when there's something new on our channel. From left to right on the panel we find sections for aftertouch assignment, LFO, oscillators, filter, clock, effects, arpeggiator and sequencer. Next to the preset selection is a row of additional knobs for analog distortion, vintage mode, pan spread and program volume. And on the back we find USB, MIDI out, in and through, foot switch inputs for the sequencer, start stop, sustain, volume and filter. The outputs are 2 mono jacks for left right and a headphone output. Most notable about the Trigon 6 are the 3 oscillators per voice and the ladder filter, features reminiscent of a Moog style synthesizer. Each oscillator has an octave knob that allows you to set it over a range of 5 octaves. Setting an oscillator 1 or more octaves lower gives them more the function of a sub-oscillator. Oscillator 2 and 3 have pitch knobs that allow you to tune them relative to oscillator 1, and oscillator 3 can be disconnected from the keyboard so the pitch remains constant. All 3 have triangle, sawtooth and pulse waveforms that you can turn on simultaneously with 3 switches. Oscillator 3 has a choice of rising or falling edge at the sawtooth waveform, and pulse width modulation is possible on all 3 oscillators. The oscillators each have a volume knob to mix them, and there is a separate white noise volume knob. In the mixer section we also find a control for drive to the right or feedback to the left. The drive knob adds some extra harmonics so the sounds are a bit thicker. The other way around, feedback, can be tricky to use. There's only a small area where this produces an acceptable sound. Below that you don't really hear anything. And above that it quickly leads to uncontrolled feedback resulting in extremely high volumes if you're not careful. Trigon 6 features two ADSR envelopes, one of which is assigned to the filter and the others for the VCA. A nice extra is that you can turn on whether the envelope responds to the keyboard velocity in order to play with more expression. The envelopes have a fast attack release, as we know from other sequential devices. And in a way, the attack even feels a bit too fast sometimes, as clicks sometimes occur in the lowest setting, which are audible even if you close the volumes of the oscillators. However, this is by design. The filter is switchable between 2 and 4 pole. It is a ladder designed filter which combines very well with 3 oscillators. The keyboard switch allows you to set the filter tracking to none, half or full. The filter also has resonance, which has a nice sweet spot where the sound sounds pleasant, but it also can scream or whistle very hard in higher modes, especially in the 4-pole section. The 2-pole mode seems to sound a bit more musical in general, or is just more pleasant to the ear. The Trigon 6 has one LFO, which you can set to different destinations. There's one amount knob, so all destinations get the same LFO values. And the LFO has 5 waveforms and can also sync to the clock pulse, internal or MIDI. Trigon 6 has a polymod function as well. There are 2 sources, oscillator 3 and filter envelope, and you can set the amount of both. they can be sent to 7 destinations. The Trigon 6 has another separate section for assigning aftertouch, which you can send to 8 destinations. 2 of these are the effect mixes, so this way you can adjust the amount of effects in real time via the keyboard aftertouch. There are 3 additional ways to further adjust the analog sound. First, there's a distortion knob, which distorts the signal. On basses and short percussive sounds, this works reasonably well, but on pads and chords I found the distortion added little or actually took the details out of the sound. The vintage button, which on the other 6 series synths was added later in the form of a firmware update, is physically present on the Trigon 6. More vintage effect makes the oscillators detune and also gives a variation of other parameters such as the envelopes. Although I did not experience it as a vintage sound, this setting does some nice things. It makes a sound change quite a bit, sometimes giving you completely different sound, therefore it seems to be more of a randomizer function. The pan spread allows you to move the voices further apart in the stereo image. Each time a voice is used, it is then positioned to the left and on the next keystroke positioned to the right. And in the case of multi-voice sounds, distributed proportionally. A simple but effective way to get a fuller stereo image. There's a 24-bit digital effects section, identical to those in the other 6 series synths, to enrich your sounds with. It includes reverb, delay, chorus, flanger, phaser and ring modulator. You can turn off the effects completely with this knob, keeping the signal completely analog. Very good sounding are the bucket brigade delay and the spring reverb. They also work well with the aftertouch control of the mix, allowing you to subtile or not subtile add the effects while live playing. If you don't want to play yourself, the Trigon 6 has an Arpeggiator on board. This offers 5 different forms of arpeggios and a 1 to 3 octave range. And finally, there's also a polyphonic step sequencer in which you can record and play back notes and rests. The sequencer can be started with a pedal and can also sync to a MIDI clock. Most of the presets have a sequence stored with them, which can be handy to quickly check how a sound can be used. The Trigon 6 is a welcome addition to the Sequential 6 series family. In terms of sound, which can be described as modern analog, it certainly adds something, with the 3 oscillators sounding fine and of course the ladder filter. That also has its own sound, of which the 2-pole sounds the best and the resonance can be a bit harsh. The envelopes also give a sound of their own due to the fast and sharp transients. The 4-octave keyboard will not be to everyone's liking, but editing is easy to the one knob per function design. I would have liked a bit more flexible modulation options. A diverse number of sounds can be created using the polymod and drive feedback. The vintage knob also offers nice variations, and the pan spread makes for a nice stereo image. For both pads, leads and basses, the Trigon 6 is suitable, always keeping the sound clean and modern. The effects section is usable, and a nice feature is that its mix can be controlled with aftertouch. If you're looking for a polyphonic synth with a thick sound, then you should definitely give the Trigon 6 a try. Thank you for watching the video, and if you liked it, please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time.